Hi everyone. Today we're going to be going over how to do animation on our diagrams, and these are just inventory diagrams that part of an inventory diagram that I've been working on as a project in visualization. So uh, yeah, that's what I'm going to be using as an example, and you can see here we're starting off in Illustrator. And so we have shoreline, which is this blue dotted line here, road network, and we have kind of a base of the lake, Lake Ontario here. We have some buildings, right? The layer of buildings and an arrow and a couple of labels, right? And so we're keeping it really basic, and I'm going to zoom in so maybe you can see this a lot better. North arrow here, right? And it's in an isometric form, and I just did that to kind of add more interest. But of course, you can apply this also to just a flat map as well. So make sure when you're kind of watching these videos, you know it can kind of transition into different aspects such as section, plans, massing, whatever you feel you need to work on. So yeah, so starting off in Illustrator, you can see that I've separated all these features into different layers, right? So here, kind of not my clip in there. You can see here that I have the base, right, which is that, and then I have the roads on a separate one, right? And so you need to do this just because it gives us, once we move into After Effects, which is where we're going to be animating our diagram, we really want flexibility within each layer. So yeah, so you can see that all these individual elements are all on separate layers, right? And they're really basic. This is just really to demonstrate what you can do, and I hope it's enough to kind of grasp it, but not kind of overwhelm you. So what I did is, what you want to do in Illustrator is you want to go to File. Once you have all your files, all your elements that you want to animate separated in layers, and I have sublayers, and I'll explain that. But what you want to do is you want to go to File, Export, right, and save for web like C. If you export as and you export it as a PNG, it doesn't read your clipping mask. It's just an Illustrator thing. So you have to do save for web legacy. Make sure your transparency is checked. You can do PNG 8 if you'd want, but 24 is the usual. And make sure your clip to artboard is checked there in order to clip it to the artboard and have a consistent base, right? Because if we don't, it creates this, right? So yeah, so once you do that, you press save, right, and it will save it to any file that you want. And I've already done this, so I'm not just gonna cancel this, right? So what I was mentioning earlier is that you want to do that for every layer, and so that's a pretty tedious process, right? Just in these, I have to repeat the step 12 times, right, or however many layers I have here, about 10, 12 times or whatever. But uh, uh, there's an option to uh, separate all these things as separate layers, right? Say all these are just the layers that I'm working with, right? And they're all in separate layers. There's a script that you can download, and I'll link it down below. But the way that script works is you go to File. Once you install the script, and I'll link the information to it. You can go down to Scripts, and you can go to It's called Multi Exporter, and if you click that, you can export what it asks you. You can click on Layers, and then choose your PNG, choose the transparency, right, and choose your folder, and then export. And that will export each individual layer as a PNG. So this is kind of a great script and semi plugin, right, that you can use in Illustrator. And again, I'll link it down below, and you guys can use that as a tool. So just gonna delete this here. And so the reason that I just did sublayers is because I was going to do it manually anyway, and it does get tedious, right, doing all these separately. But in order to get a good a good base that you can work with, and in the end, it's going to save you a lot of time. Uh, you have to kind of do that tedious process, and there are other options, but this is just kind of the way I like to do it, just to kind of have more control of what I'm doing. So yeah, so that's it for Illustrator, right? Again, this can be just your plan. If you're doing an inventory, site inventory, it could just be a plan if you want to think of it that way. But I'm just doing an isometric again, just to kind of show a little bit more interest in the diagram, right? And so yeah, I think I've mentioned the elements, right? But what we're really showing here is the road network and the shoreline and kind of some base information of this area, of this kind of port here and canal. Yeah, so once we've done that, we're going to move into After Effects, right? Once you export your PNGs. And again, open up After Effects, and we're going to do new composition, and we're just going to label it diagram animation. Diagram animation, and these are the presets that I always use. Again, I always say this, but screenshot these if you guys are looking for just a standard, but I'm sure you guys can figure out whatever you're comfortable with and want. You guys can start to figure out the settings that you need for this, right? And again, I'm just using the background color that's white, but again, you can change any color to any color that you'd like. So just gonna press OK. And I don't know why my windows here are 2. Let's see. Sorry, I'm going to move myself over here too. Composition settings maybe. Oh, here we go. 2 views, 1 view. Sorry about that. So I was messing around with it earlier and I forgot to turn it back. So yeah, so now we have our composition there, and if you remember, we have our timeline, our layers, and our area where we're going to drag our information and our files to, right? Just going to show my folder here, my Finder, and you can see like I exported all the PNGs, right? And so what I want to do is I just want to select them all. I think I have 2 north arrows for some reason, and I don't know why, but I'm just going to check that one, right? And so you can select them all, and you can just drag them here, or you can drag them down to your layer. Either's fine. Let's just do it to a layer, maybe save a little bit of time, right? So we're going to move this back out of the way. And yeah, now we have all of our layers here, and so what we want to do is we want to start to organize them. I'm going to zoom in so you can kind of see this a little better. We have our title there. Maybe we'll scale it up a little bit, right? So let's select, if you just select that one, and then the bottom one here, press Shift, select it all to select all the layers here, and just you can drag this, right, and hold down Shift if you want to keep it proportional, right? So let's just drag it a little bit bigger here, so maybe you can see it better. Okay, not too much, maybe there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so what we want to do is we want to organize our layers, right? So our base is the water here. It's labeled base, and you can, in Illustrator, you can label your layers, and as you export out, you can number them or go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? And that's just going to help you organize them quicker when you're moving into After Effects. I didn't do that, so I just have to remember where I have things right labeled and kind of just move them. So I'm going to move the base down, right? And there we go. Our base is kind of show. Oh, that's the title all the way down. The base is there, right? That's our base. I'm going to move the title up. Our title is this guy here. Here, I'll show you. If this makes sense. Zooming in and out. That's our title. Our arrow. I think that's okay there. just going to move the north arrow and the labels, which are these, up under the title, just so I kind of categorize them in my head. We have the arrow, we have the buildings. The buildings can probably go down after our base layer. And we have, what else do we have? We have a shoreline road, that should be good. We have our ellipse border here. I don't think it really matters. Well, maybe we'll move it up, maybe all the way up, just to know that's our border. Let's see, yeah, and that's kind of it. So we have 10 layers, right? It's not too bad. So we have 10 layers, and so yeah, once we have that, again, we can start to kind of set up our timeline as well. Should have done this first, but 15. I think we'll need about 15 seconds. I'm just going to select all these again. If you press Shift, select them all. Just drag this to about 15. So maybe just a tad bit over, and drag our bars here to 15. I always do this where I accidentally drag the wrong one here, but then there we go, 15. Yeah, so yeah, I think that would be our animation length, right? Around 15 seconds for this one, and of course this is all going to be a variable and change to what you guys need it to be, right? So we're going to do that, and so yeah, once we have that, we can actually just start animating, starting off with our base, right? And so for our base, I kind of want to do, I'll show you an animation preset that I'm thinking of, but since it's kind of circular, I kind of want to do a circular kind of fade in or appearance, right? So if you go to animation presets and click the little arrow here, there's tons of presets that you can explore. So I think it's under transitions is probably the one that we'll use the most with movement. And let's see, slide, blur. I know we're going to use slide drop for the building, so I'll show you what that entails. Maybe it's under wipes, yeah. So yeah, clock wipe, that's what I'm looking for. So clock wipe, I'll show you what it does, but anything with wipes, that it's gonna again, just very descriptive, wipe kind of the element, right? So I'm gonna make sure I'm at 0. Make sure I have the base selected, and I'm going to do double click on clock wipe here, the effects here. Under that, again, it's under effects and presets, animation presets, transitions, movement, and clock wipe, right? Transitions wipes, I meant, not movements, but it's under these kind of transition dialogues here, dialog boxes. So let's do, yeah, clock wipe and double click. Yeah, so if we're at 0 and you notice it kind of went away, and we press spacebar, you can see what it does, right? That's a clock wipe, right? So that's kind of great. It works really kind of great with our diagram here. And so it is a little fast if I press Shift, space, sorry. It is quite fast. So again, in order to slow it down, we just want to stretch under the stretch, right? You can stretch it to maybe 130-ish or so. And so press play, and I kind of like how that feels a little bit better, right? So yeah, so it ends around here, right? About 1.5 seconds. So that's where I'll start moving this this timekeeper here, and so that way we can start to think about what's the next step, right? So the next kind of layer I want to show is the buildings, and I just want them to drop down, right? It just kind of makes sense, and I feel it's kind of it'll flow, right? And you can have fun and do all sorts of exploration with these animation presets and figure out what you want to do, right? There's tons, and it's going to be a lot of trial and error, but have some fun with exploring those. So I'm going to go to our building layer here, right? That's our building layer. And I'm just going to drop them down, and if I remember right, I made a note of it. Transitions, movement, right? I'm going to do slide drop. And yeah, it's 1.5, slide drop, and double click that. And then I'm going to go back to 0 and see what that looks like, right? So we have our clock going, and there's our buildings, right, coming in. So that ends. You have to kind of keep track of the time here, around here, around 3 seconds or so. That way we know when we need to add our transitions and our animations to it, right? So yeah, so that's kind of it for that one. Yeah, let's do the shoreline next. So actually for the shoreline, this is going to be a different technique. We can do something where it drops down, right? Or we can do some spiral or something preset. But I kind of want to show you how you can use mask, the mask path to kind of show that kind of a more fluid movement. So what I want to do is the shoreline is this dotted blue line, right, across here and here. And so what I want to do is I want in my head, I want it to appear from kind of the top all the way to the bottom and just kind of appear slowly, kind of this way. So yeah, so what I want to do, again, we're at around 3 seconds. And what I want to do is there's two ways to do this. You can do a layer, mask, new mask, or you can right click, mask, or new mask, right? And you can do that either way. And it gives us this box, right, that we can maneuver around. And you can see, hopefully you can see, it's a little blurry on my screen too, but here I'll zoom in. You can see that this box is our mask, right? So we move it along, it's going to disappear, right? So here, what we can do is move the handles to kind of change its shape. So I double clicked it and it gets smaller. And it's kind of weird, but you have to select the layer again, and then you'll be able to kind of maneuver these handles, these mask handles. It's kind of a weird thing, but it's just an After Effects thing here. So what I want to do is in Shoreline and the layer, you want to go down the arrow, go under mask. Once you have created a new mask, and this is our mask here, and again click on the arrow one more time under mask 1, and what you want to do is you want to click mask path, so the little time symbol here. So mask path is going to create a key, right? And so we can move this here. Again, you have to select, it's weird, you have to select the layer and then you can move the handles. And we're going to make it disappear, right? Because we don't want it to appear yet. And then we're going to move this, let's say, I think like 3 seconds or so, like 2.5 seconds will be fine. So what we want to do is, once you have it there, once you move this, we can move this to reveal here, reveal our full line work of the shoreline, right? So another key should be created here, right? I know it's kind of a weird concept to grasp, but you start off here, you press it, you move the mask to what you want it to start with, and then you move about 2.5 seconds or however long you want the appearance to take, and then you move it. You move your mask again, and it'll create another keyframe. So yeah, so now I'm going to go back to 0 and see what that looks like, right? So here we go. You can see our buildings, and you can see our shoreline, right? Now it's starting to look pretty neat, right? And so as you're working with this, you can maybe I should have been doing that. I'm sorry. I could hit in all these, so then that way we can do one by one. You can keep that. Yeah. Yeah. So let's just take a look at what's going on. Right. We have our ellipse tool, which we can animate, but I probably won't just for a demonstration. But yeah, we have that. We have our buildings, and we have that going on, right? So yeah, so it's the same kind of process for everything else. Those are kind of the two main techniques: animation presets and really just the masking, right? And so yeah, so once you have that down, it can move on pretty quickly. So yeah, let's see, where does it end? Our shoreline ends at about there. The 2 seconds will look about right. It could be a little longer actually, but let's see. Hold on, let's test it one more time. We can decide. I think overall it is kind of fast, but that feels pretty good actually. So yeah, so it ends around, let's see, around here, around 5.5 seconds. We'll do that. I have a little room, and we'll show the roads here, and we'll do the same thing, right? Select the road layer, and we're gonna do right click and mask and new mask. Right? Again, we can move. Just gonna scale this down. Oh, double click it. Double click this, and then you can. Oh, I don't know why it wants me to rotate. There we go. Scale it down. Kind of work with it here. Sorry, I should be zooming in a little bit more. And so we can, yeah, we can select the layer to have us be able to move our handlebars here. You know, it doesn't really matter that up there because our file is not going to show that, but I'm just going to do it here. And I'm using the border of the ellipse tool just as a reference, right? And so yeah, I wanted to start there. Again, it's 5.5 seconds after our other one. And we've made the new mask, right? And so again, arrow, mask, one arrow, click that. We should create a keyframe, right? And we've already done where we want it positioned and manipulated the mask to what we wanted to show for the start, and then about, you know, it was about 2 seconds, right, the other time, so 7.5 seconds. So I'm gonna move our timekeeper here, and then oops, I did not want to do that, and then no, we can. It is kind of annoying. Select the layer, and then we can move our handles here all the way down, right, to show our roads. And again, it'll create a keyframe automatically, so we can check it out. If we go back to 0, let's see what it's looking like. We have base layer, buildings, shoreline, and the roads, right? Road network there. Yeah, so it's starting to look pretty good, right? Let's go to 8, about 8, should be a little bit less than 8. Yeah, and then what else do we want to show? We want to show this arrow next, maybe, for the transition. Let's see, north arrow. Our north arrow can stay, right? I feel like it can just stay in place, static. Yeah, and our label can come up. Let's see, label. Yeah, so for these, I'm gonna move this down and move this up here since that's staying static. We have our arrow here and our label. That's labeling the arrow, Burlington Bay Canal, right? So the arrow, let's do something with the arrow. Maybe I just wanted to, let's just do another mask for that. We can try to figure something out style, but I don't think it makes sense. And it'd be kind of a nice transition to have that. So, but we can do something with the label. So let's do the mask first. Let's do arrow, right? Click on the arrow and right click. I'll show you the other way as well, just in case you feel more comfortable. Layer, mask, new mask, right? I'm going to create this and double click it. Once you get used to it, this will be a lot faster, but for now, just takes a little tedious process, but that's okay. Yeah, so let's again select the layer, and that'll give us flexibility to move these handlebars. And so let's see, where do I want to start? Yeah, I think this way makes sense, right? Because our label will be here, so maybe it appears this way, right? So I'm just gonna hide it here, hide our arrow completely. Right, there we go. Zoom in here. I don't want it to. Let's do this. Okay, our arrow's gone, right? And so again, if you click the layer, arrow, mask 1, the little mask path, click the clock there, gives the key, right? And then let's do about about 1. Again, let's just stick with the 2, so keeps it consistent. And then we'll drag. Select the layer. Then we'll drag the handles to reveal the whole thing, right? Let's do this. Yeah, so keyframe should have been created automatically once you manipulate the mask. It should do it automatically, right? So let's see what it's starting to look like, right? There we go. Buildings, shoreline, roads, nice, and yeah, brilliant. Yeah, canal. So this is where a canal, so the ships, kind of the ship circulation. And this is just kind of a reference, right? Where that's not the main point, but I think it tied in well, and hope this kind of helps demonstrate it. Even another type of element that you can animate. So yeah, so we have that now, and I'm gonna go back to kind of the beginning because I want the label to maybe starts where it starts to hit it, right? Intersect it there. That's what we'll do something with our label. So let's close these, and if we select our label, so this one, yeah, label. Let's try another preset here quickly. Movements are good. Let's see if a white would be kind of interesting. Video white? Wine doors. Again, you can spend so much time exploring this. Let's see. Corner reveal. Let's do a corner reveal. I think that would be okay. So again, label. Make sure it's at there about 3 seconds, right? Where we want that. So click that, and let's see what happens here. Okay, let's see what this. Let's see. And you don't have to go back, you can just move the timer, but I'm just trying to use this as a reference to kind of show you how to think about that was okay. Search in the corner, I guess, right? It does that. That's okay, we'll just leave it. And I'm just going to stretch it because it is pretty quick, so let's do 120-ish maybe. Let's see what that looks like, right? So let's see. Oh, that's too much, so I guess let's just slow it down a little bit. 105. No, I guess not. I guess let's do 102. I guess cancel that. I guess 102. Let's just do that. 102. You can type it in. Let's see what that looks like. It's still really quick. Oh, I don't know how I got that. Sorry, 120. Let's do that. Let's see again. I guess that kind of makes sense. If it's once we draw the arrow, it's labeled, right? I guess we can leave it like that, right? That's kind of interesting. It's kind of a opposite like what you want to do, but for now, for demonstration, I think that's okay. Okay, let's just leave it like that. Yeah, let's move on. Let's see what else do we have. Link Ontario. Yeah, we can do something with that too, right? Let's just quickly do something. Let's just do fly to inset. Let's do that. All right. See what that does. Whoa, I did not expect that. But you know what? We'll just leave it because it is part of the it's part of the base already. So I don't think I want that to do anything. So I'm just gonna undo the effect that I did. Control Z, you can just undo it. So yeah, I think it makes sense that it's just a static all the way through with the north arrow as well. So yeah, so where are we at? I'm losing place in my time here. Okay, so we're about there. And so let's see, north arrow. Yeah, I think the last thing we want to do is kind of the title, right? Maybe have some fun with the title. Maybe that can be something it's more fun, I guess, or more dynamic. And actually, it would make sense to kind of do it at the beginning. So let's see what it looks like. Let's see, let's go into shapes, see what this does, if there's anything that catches our eye here. Transform maybe, no. Image creative, image utilities, special effects, no. Nothing really catching my eye. Maybe a zoom 2D spin. Let's see what that does. That's interesting. That's kind of cool. It kind of flows with our. I don't want that relationship though, so let's not do that one. So I'm just gonna undo that. 3D tumble. Let's try that. Let's see what that does. Okay. Undo. Sorry, I always get caught up in these little things, and I apologize. Grid white. Let's see what that does. Okay, I like that. Let's stick with that. That's interesting. That's kind of more the feel that I wanted, right? And again, I'm doing this very quickly for demonstration, but take your time with these, and your diagrams and your animations will come out 10 times better than mine, right? So I hope this kind of helps just with the basics. So let's see. Yeah, I kind of like the shoreline. If I could zoom in to the right place here, but yeah, that's starting to work well. I like that. Yeah, cool. And yeah, so that's it. We're done. That's kind of all the animation that I want to show. And again, within all these animations, you can have all sorts of features that you can manipulate, right? Like for example, that the text here, we can do all sorts of things to it, right? Transitions, cell size, you can do all sorts of things to kind of manipulate that. But I don't want to overwhelm. I just kind of want to show you the basics, and I hope that on your own you can start to explore, be comfortable enough to explore some of these other aspects of the After Effects animation. So yeah, so that's kind of it, right? So yeah, that's kind of our final animation. I'll zoom in the shoreline and just make sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, it's good, pretty sweet animation, and it shouldn't take long, right? Once you have all your layers and things that you should already have, it shouldn't be that long to kind of make this happen, right? So yeah, yeah, we can render it now. Let's just do that. So if we go to render queue, render queue, right? Go back here to our project. Yeah, check this, sorry, and then go to why am I struggling with this here? I guess we can just drag this here, right? To rendering. Render segments should be good. Output to animation diagram. Let's go here to YT. Yeah, I'm just gonna diagram animation right there to save. Let's see if it does it. I hope. Oh yeah, press render. Sorry, down here. Press render. Let's rendering it up. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen my other videos, I guess I should also show how to create. We export as an AVI, but we can transform it into MP4 through Handbrake, right? So we'll do that extra step too if you want to bear with me a couple more minutes. So I'm going to hide that. And so just going to find it here. Diagram animation. And move this here. Right, there it is, right? And it's taking a while because it's still kind of rendering, right? It's kind of processing here. But if we use Handbrake, right? Handbrake. Let's see if it pops up quickly here. There we go, Handbrake, right? And so what we want to do is we can drag our file, and I'll show you here the file. We have a file here, right? AVI file that we exported, rendered from After Effects. Drag it here. There it is. Move this back. make sure this is MP4. You know, you can save this M4B or MP4. Browse. I'm gonna save it in my folder here. Yeah, here we go. MP4. You know, if you want MP4, we can just do that. Before save, you have to do start encode. It's kind of the same thing as rendering, right? It's just encoding the video, and you can see it's here, right? And it's still kind of processing, right? So let's see, there we go. Should be full on MP4, right? And you can see how much difference the file size creates, right? Created this huge file, and that's not even a fraction of it, right? It's crazy. That's why I really recommend using Handbrake. And so once you do that, animation is here, right? And it's quite quick for kind of my liking, but just kind of want to show the process, and I take me too much time and fiddling with the details. But I hope you guys have the time to kind of explore that on your own. You can see it kind of going there, right? And so that's it for this workshop. I hope that helps kind of get you thinking about animation diagrams and how you can utilize that in your visualization and your projects. And like always, I hope it helps with your projects. And thank you for your attention, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much.